Hi, today I'm explaining about animation principles. Okay, so this is very important for the animation students. Whether you are doing 2D animation or 3D animation, it is a very important subject. Okay, so without knowing this animation principles, okay, even you cannot do animation 2D or 3D. Okay, all these animation principles based on the physics. Okay, so these are actually three theory. Okay, so theory I'm going to explain now. In the coming classes, the same animation principles again we do in practical also. Okay, let us check actually what are these animation principles. So first you check the character animation and the goal of the character animation. Okay. I explained you already animation. What is animation actually? If you say this, animation is a sequence of drawings or frames. If you can arrange them in a particular order, you can arrange them in a order and play them in proper speed, okay, that can display the illusion of the motion. Can display the illusion of the motion, so that is called animation. Okay, so animation is what? Sequence of drawings or frames. If you play them in a order, that too with a particular speed, it can create the illusion of motion, so that is called animation. Animation is not a tracing of the subject, whatever the video or anything. You cannot trace blindly. If you trace that, that is not animation. Okay, so what is animation? What are the things are involving in animation? Let us check. So here the character animation and goal, if you see this, here make character that move in a convincing way to communicate personality and mood. Okay. Walt Disney developed a number of principles. The computer graphics animators have adapted them to 3D animation. Okay, so here the characters that move in a convincing way to communicate personality and mood. Suppose in story or your concept there are characters. Those characters can move, can act, and they convince you with their personality and mood to communicate something. Okay, so here Walt Disney developed a number of principles to communicate, to develop, or to act. The old Disney developed a number of principles. So these principles adapted by the computer graphics animators also. Actually these principles first the inventor, the developer for 2D animation purpose. The 2D animation means here the classical animation or traditional animation or cell animation. These are the old Disney traditional method. Okay, so now the 3D animators also they adapted those principles and they are using in their 3D animation. Okay, here if you see this, the 12 basic principles of animation is a set of principles of animation introduced by the Disney animators Ollie Johnston and Frank Thomas in their 1981 book The Illusion of Life by Disney Animation. The 12 basic principles of animation, these principles developed by these Disney top class animators. These are their names are Ollie Johnston and Frank Thomas in their 1981 book. Okay, they wrote the book and they are the animators and the authors of the book. Okay, the name of the book is Illusion of Life. Johnston and Thomas in turn based their book on the work of the leading Disney animators from the 1930s onwards. These two, the topmost animators, they are working from 1930s onwards. Okay, so from the old days, from the classics, onwards, they worked for the Disney and they developed these animation the principles, and they wrote the book Illusion of Life in 1981. Okay, Johnson and Thomas in turn based their book on the work of the leading Disney animators from the 1930s onwards and their effort to produce more realistic animations. That is the reason they developed the book and they developed the principles. Okay, this book, because of this book, the animators, they're they're producing the realistic animations. Okay, because of the great efforts. The main purpose of the principles was to produce an illusion of characters adhering to the basic laws of physics, but they also deal with more abstract issues such as emotional timing and character appeal. Okay, the main purpose of the principles was to produce an illusion of characters adhering to the basic laws of physics. I told you these principles designed the based on the physics, but they also deal with more abstract issues such as emotional timing and character appeal. So originally intended to apply to traditional hand-drawn animation, the principles still have great relevance for today's more prevalent computer animation. This principle actually designed for traditional hand-drawn or cell animation. The later onwards, nowadays, the principles still have great relevance for today's more prevalent computer animation. The computer animation in this era, the generation, in this new generation also, these principles are morely widely using by the computer animators, digital animators. Yes, let us check the actual principles, animation principles. Following are a set of principles to keep in mind. Okay, very important, because 1. Squash and stretch, 2. Staging, 3. Timing, 4. Anticipation, 5. Follow through. Okay, and 6. Overlapping action, 7. Secondary action, 8. Straight ahead was pose to pose was blocking, 9. Arcs, 10. Slow in slow, 11. Exaggeration, 12. Appeal. These are the main 12 animation principles. Okay, check one by one thoroughly, clearly. The one is squash and stretch. The most important principle is squash and stretch. The purpose of which is to give a sense of weight and flexibility to drawn objects. Okay, this is the main important principles from the 12 animation principles, that is squash and stretch, the purpose of which is to give a sense of weight and flexibility to drawn objects. The squash flatten an object or character by pressure or by its own power. If you hit something, it is hitting on ground, automatically that object can flatten or squash or recoil. So that is squash, flatten, because of the pressure applied on that. So by pressure or by its own power, that is called flatten or squash. Stretch is used to increase the sense of speed and emphasize the squash by contrast. So that means what? We use this stretchness to increase the sense of speed, velocity, the speedness, to emphasize the squash by contrast in animation. Suppose if you throw something, okay, so it moves from one direction to another direction, so there it creates falling. Suppose the object is falling on ground in an arc, so there at the slope area, the arc area, there it's creating the more speed, more velocity. That is called stretchness of the particular object. Okay, so that is called stretchness. And note keep volume constant. Even the object is moving, but the volume must be the constant. Let us check here animation principle. The first animation principle, the bouncing ball. Okay, so already few people for the few classes I already explained you this principle. Okay, so again for the other people, other class people, I'll explain practically in coming class. Okay, let us check. So this is the bouncing ball. Bouncing ball is nothing but your kids playing normal rubber ball. Okay, suppose this is ball, this is your area, the ball is entering into room and hitting on ground and jumping into air and again hitting and going outside. So here the frames are what? See, this is a normal, this is normal, it is bit oval shape getting, and it is oval shape getting, it is stretched more, and here flatten, because this is a squash, recoil, the object touched the ground, and after touching that and again it is jumping into air and it is getting into stretch and slowly it is getting into normal, and here the action will be delaying because this is opposite to gravity. So here the action will be very slow. Okay, and here again falling down and getting out. So this is here, this is squash, this is squash, and these areas, this and this is stretched shape of the ball. These are the normal balls, these are the medium shapes of the ball. Next, the second, anticipation. An action has three parts: anticipation, action, reaction. Anatomical motivation: a muscle must extend before it can contract. Prepares audience for action so they know what to expect. Director's audience attention. So here what? An action has three parts: anticipation, action, and reaction. So anticipation is like preparation for the action. Suppose you are targeting with your arrow, you are using arrow. So when you release that arrow, first what you do, suppose you want to hit something, your target is there, you want to hit something by your arrow bow, then what you do, you can pull back, so you are stretching back, that is anticipation. Okay, preparing action, that is anticipation. After pulling back, stretching back, you release that arrow, then it hits the target. Okay, the pulling back, the action is called anticipation, that is preparation for the action. After anticipation, action, the arrow moving fast and hitting somewhere. After hitting that arrow, it is what? It bounces few frames, it vibrates after hitting something like it is hitting the tree, and it is vibrating few frames and it can settle. So that is called reaction. Anticipation and action, hitting, and after hitting, this can be a bouncy, so few frames, then it is called reaction. That is, so every action has three parts. Okay, the same thing, anatomical motivation, the muscle must extend before it can contract. So with this, prepare an audience for action so they know what to expect. Director audience attention. Okay, with this anticipation. So anticipation is used to prepare the audience for action, I told you this, and to make the action appear more realistic. A dancer jumping off the floor has to bend his knees first. A golfer making a swing has to swing the club back first. The technique can also be used for less physical actions, such as a character looking off screen to anticipate someone's arrival, or attention focusing on object at character is about to pick up. So I told you this because the anticipation gives the meaning of the action. Okay, it is prepare the audience for an action. If you observe this, a baseball player making a pitch prepares for the action by moving his arm back. And you see this? This is a baseball game, baseball player. Suppose he is stretching back. This is anticipation, and he is forwarding, throwing the ball. This is action. The action means here the ball, he releases the ball, went out. Okay. Next is staging. This principle is akin to staging as it is known in theatre and film. Its purpose is to direct the audience attention and make it clear what is of greatest importance in scene, what is happening and what is about to happen. Johnston and Thomas define it as the presentation of any idea so that it is completely and unmistakably clear whether that idea is an action, a personality, an expression or mood. Okay, so staging means what? So presentation, how you are placing your characters, actors on the stage. Suppose the heroes, villains, monsters and the other stuff is there. As per the story demand, as per the story importance, you can place your characters bit forward, the front line, and the other characters in the next line, other characters in other line, and the unimportant characters, unimportant stuff you can arrange lastly. So this is called what? Placement of the characters, arrangement of the characters. That is called staging. How you are preparing, how your arrangement, how you give the presentation. So this is called what? Presentation of an idea, so that it is completely and unmistakably clear whether that idea is in action or personality, an expression or mood. So audience, they'll understand very clearly what you are going to show. This can be done by various means, such as the placement of a character in the frame, the use of light and shadow, and the angle and position of the camera. The essence of this principle is keeping focus on what is relevant and avoiding unnecessary detail. Understand? So this is very important, because the character, your placement, you are placing character in the frame, the use of light and shadow. You must have to give the light and shadow. The character placed in a particular scene, and suppose the sunlight or room light where you are placing, accordingly the lights can focus on the subject, object or person, and in opposite direction shades will create. So that is the shadow and the angle and the position of the camera, where we are, where the lighting is coming from. This is essential. The essence of this principle is keeping focus on what is relevant and avoiding unnecessary detail. That's good. Here if you check this, present the idea so it is unmistakably clear, audience can only see one thing at a time. So useful guide, stage actions in silhouette. Yeah, the silhouette means this is silhouette. Silhouette is nothing but clarity in drawing, clarity in frame and pose. Okay, so audience, they can only see one thing at a time. So that means what? There are two characters are cursor there in a scene, though interacting each other. Some other character, the background characters, should not move, should not do any the major action beyond this. The two characters, what they are saying, what they are doing. Okay, because audience, they cannot concentrate on all the characters at a time. They focus on one character. Okay, so that is very important. Audience can only see one thing at a time. They cannot see on all the characters at a time if the other characters are involving in major actions. That is unnecessary you are wasting your energy. So here useful guide, stage actions in silhouette. Silhouette is, that means what, clarity in drawing. Okay, that is. The fourth one is straight ahead action and pose to pose. So here these are two different approaches to the actual drawing process. The straight ahead action means drawing out a scene frame by frame from beginning to end, while pose to pose involves starting with drawing a few keyframes and then filling in the intervals later. Straight ahead action creates a more fluid, dynamic illusion of movement and is better for producing realistic action sequences. On the other hand, it is hard to maintain proportions and to create exact, convincing poses along the way. So, generally, in action, in animation, whether it is 2D or 3D, there are few approaches are there. That is straight ahead action, pose to pose, and that blocking also there. The straight ahead action means in straight away, continuously start animating, start doing particular drawing, and continuously you can draw till to end of that action. If you do this, that is called straight ahead action. Okay, in straight ahead action, generally actions can be very fluid and very energetic, and very in a fluid way you can create, you can generate your actions. Okay, so that is straight ahead action. Well, the pose to pose involves starting with drawing a few keyframes and then filling in the intervals later. So pose to pose means there will be two poses. There is a one pose somewhere and one pose another. So between these two key poses you can generate the middle pose and you can fill with the interval drawings. That is called the pose to pose. The pose to pose animation is more popular than straight ahead action. Okay, yes, straight ahead action creates more fluid, already I told you, the dynamic illusion of movement, and is better for producing realistic action sequences. If you are planning for a realistic action sequences, action particularly, so it can be more dynamic and fluid way you can generate your animations. On the other hand, it is hard to maintain proportions. The problem with this straight ahead animation, you cannot maintain proportion, hard to maintain proportions. Proportions mean size relationship between poses. Okay, it is very hard, and to create exact convincing poses along the way. So till the end of the action you have to create more convincingly by drawing all the poses in a exact convincing way. So sometimes you cannot do that. So that is the reason this is good for action and dynamic sequences. It is good for that, but the other hand it is hard to maintain proportions. The pose to pose works better for dynamic or emotional scenes. It's very important. So where composition and relation to the surroundings are of greater importance, a combination of the two techniques is often used. So but which one we have to use in animation? So more popularly we use pose to pose only. Sometimes we use a straight ahead action, and sometimes we combine them, these two techniques, and we can use them in scenes animation. Computer animation removes the problems of proportion related to straight ahead action. Okay, so the other hand, computer animation, the benefit is removes the problems of proportion related to straight ahead action drawing. Okay, however, pose to pose is still used for computer animation because of the advantages it brings in composition. The use of computers facilitates this method, as computers can fill in the missing sequences in between poses automatically. I told you the pose to pose is more advanced and more popularly a method using nowadays even in computer animation also. Okay, because the advantage is here the pose to pose still used in computer animation, because the reason the computer facilitated this method, as computer can fill in the missing sequences in between poses automatically. But in the 2D, in hand drawn animation, you have to you have to draw all the in between poses also by yourself. But in 3D animation, computers can fill this gap between these main keyframes. Thus, that is called in between drawings. Check this. This is straight ahead action. The straight ahead means this is one pose and continuously he is hitting with his leg. So he is hitting with this leg. So continuously he is moving his leg all the frame continuously. This is a straight ahead action, but it is pose to pose. In this pose to pose, this dancer, suppose this is the first pose and this is second pose and this is in between pose of that. Okay, so this is in between pose. So this is key pose, this is key pose. In first pose she is here, in the last pose she is here, and this is the between pose. So this is pose to pose action. And again, straight ahead, proceed from frame to frame without planning where you want to be in 10 frames, can be wild and spontaneous. Pose to pose, define keyframes and in-betweens. The blocking, computer graphics animators adaptation, start keyframing at the top of the hierarchy, refine level by level. Keyframes for different parts need not happen at the same time. Okay, so the same thing again here, repeating. In pose to pose, define keyframes and in-betweens. The blocking method, generally computer animation artists, they adopt this word, the blocking. In the 2D animation we say it is a pose to pose, but in computer graphic animators they'll say it's a block. You can block that pose properly. Between blocks of the poses you can create animation. Okay, so their keyframes at the top of the hierarchy, refine level by level. Keyframes for different parts need not happen at the same time. So this is the process of the animation. Here follow through and overlapping action. Okay, so follow through and overlapping action. So observe here, it is very important. Follow through and overlapping action, these closely related techniques help render movement more realistic and give the impression that characters follow the laws of physics. Follow through means that separate parts of body will continue moving after the character has stopped. It's very important. Follow through means when you are a moving object, you are throwing something, a javelin throw, you are throwing javelin, you are throwing that. After throwing that, your body, your hair and your head, your hands cannot stop all the body parts at a time. Okay, so means follow through means that separate parts of the body, because you have a joints in your body. Okay, rigged portions, the body at joints, all the bone areas at the joint areas, you have separate parts of the body that will continue moving after the character has stopped. When you stop after running or throwing something, suddenly if you stop, the other body's parts continue moving. It cannot stop at a time with your main action. Suppose your main action, suppose you stopped your body, you are throwing something and you stop it suddenly, but your hair will move few frames and slowly can settle. The same way your shirt, loose shirt, or all the hand parts move few frames forward and can settle. So follow through means what? You can observe here, that separate parts of body will continue moving after the character has stopped. Even the main character stopped, but your loose portion of the portion from the body like shirt and hair or hands can move forward and can settle. That is a follow through. The overlapping action. Overlapping means simple. If you understand it, it overlaps. The same follow through happening continuously, and it is overlapping. Overlapping is the tendency for parts of the body to move at different rates. An arm will move on different timing of the head and so on. A third technique is drag, where a character starts to move and parts of him take a few frames to catch up. These parts can be inanimate objects like clothing or antenna on a car, or parts of the body such as arms or hair. On the human body, the torso is the core with arms, legs, head and hair appendage that normally follow the torso's movement. Here the overlapping action means what? Suppose you want to walk, you are in hold position, okay, you are in stopped position, hold position, and suddenly you started to walk, and in your whole body parts, your main torso, the torso means your shoulder to the pelvis area, shoulder to pelvis area, the middle portion is your torso. The torso parts can move first from all the body parts, okay. Then because your hands attached to shoulders and your legs attached to torso, after torso these hands and legs can move, then head, then hair, then other remaining body parts can move. So that is overlapping, like chain link. If you suppose there is a train, the goods train or whatever the train, first to connect with the main, it pulls the main what, the train, the bogie, one bogie, and it's connected to each bogie, okay, continuously, and because it is like chain linked, so it can move step by step and gains the speed. So in the same way the human body also can behave because of the parts of the body, all the body parts at the joining areas, the connections are there. So that is overlapping action. Body parts with much tissue such as large stomachs and breasts or the loose skin on a dog are more prone to independent movement than bonier body parts, okay. So the body parts of like the dog and suppose the fat man jumping, so his loose body parts like his breast and the stomach, the heavy fat stomach can swing continuously. You are running, you are making running, then your loose body parts like your breast and the large stomach can heavily can move up and down, okay. That is called the overlapping action. The exaggerated use of the technique can produce a comical effect. So while more realistic animation must time the action exactly to produce a convincing result. Yes, because of this overlapping action, it can create a comical effect when you exaggerate. So exaggerate means suppose the stomach is moving generally when you run, okay, but if you add more up downs to the stomach action, it can create a comedy, the sense of humor it can generate. So that can give the nice the humor. So that is the benefit of the overlapping action. Thomas and Johnston also developed the principle of the moving hold. A character not in movement can be rendered absolutely still. This is often done particularly to draw attention to the main action. According to Thomas and Johnston, however, this gave a dull and lifeless result and should be avoided. Even characters Sitting still can display some sort of movement, such as the torso moving in and out with breathing. Moving hold, this is a moving hold. Moving hold is nothing but what? Suppose when the action stopped, suppose there is a character in scene sleeping, that character, but the camera is continuously focusing, okay, capturing that scene, but the person is sleeping, but the audience, how they understand the character is in dead, character is in dead position, or he is sleeping? How will understand? Because the character is not moving anyway, but because of the breathing sense, his chest area to stomach area, the up downs of the movements of the chest and stomach area, you have to give the bit movements at these areas, then people, they'll understand, oh, he is sleeping, character is not dead, not in dead state, he is in alive, but he is in sleeping mode. So that is called what? Moving hold. Hold means character is in hold, but moving is there, movement is there. So sometimes we use this. See the follow through here. Suppose javelin throw, person is throwing that, but when you stop it suddenly, your all the body parts cannot stop with you, so other body parts slowly can settle. So because these are the joints, each and every, this is the shoulder, elbow and the wrist, all the areas. Because slow in, slow out, the movement of the human body and most other objects needs time to accelerate and slow down. For this reason, an animation looks more realistic if it has more frames near the beginning and end of movement and fewer in the middle. This principle goes for the characters moving between two extreme poses, such as sitting down and standing up, but also for inanimate moving objects like the bouncing ball in the above illustration. So I told you this already. Slow in, slow out. Slow in, slow out means you are controlling your action how you want, how much speed you need at particular area. Okay, so that is the subject of the slow in, slow out. Suppose here I am giving one diagram here. See the bouncing ball, already I explained you. This is here the spacing of the shapes, here some space I maintained, but here bit extra means added more space, here more space, here more space. That means what? I am using this ladder. The ladder is nothing but your drawings, how you are arranging in particular time. So it look like a ladder, look like ladder. That is the reason we are saying as a ladder. And these lines are nothing but frames, drawings. Suppose this is the first pose, suppose this is, and this is the end pose, and this is the middle one, and this is this, this is this. Okay, so here we are showing this in particular diagram like ladder. The same thing we are applying into practical by using balls or whatever the humans or animals character you can place here. Instead of here you are placing a character here. See here the actions are slower, here faster. So that means what? The action, suppose here this is called a slow out. Here the action is slow, the action starting place, and this is ending place. This is starting place and ending place, starting and ending, starting and ending. Is it action is starting? Okay, so that is the reason this is called what? Slow out. It is coming from outside with the slowly and reaching faster. Suppose if I reverse this, the action will be faster here, and this is slow in. That is called slow in, slow out. Okay, in animation time I'll explain more clearly in the coming classes. Arcs. The most human and animal actions occur along an arc trajectory. And animation should reproduce these movements for greater realism. This can apply to a limb moving by rotating a joint or a thrown object moving along a parabolic trajectory. The exception is mechanical movement, which typically moves in straight lines. Arcs are nothing but paths. In which direction, which way, how you want, how you give the way to the particular action. That is by path. So paths and arcs are very important for the actions. Suppose I told you this in drawing classes, the line of action is nothing but the arc of the particular action. So here this is the line of action. Without giving this line of action first, you cannot produce this pose. Without giving this, even you cannot place this in a particular action, particular pose. Okay, here this is in dull mode. So first, before placing this detailed head and all, first you have to draw the arc. On the arc, you draw all the stick figures. After adding stick figures, you add the cylinders like puppets, and you can give the details. Then the character automatically can develop easily. Next is secondary action. The secondary action is also very important. Adding secondary actions to the main action gives a scene more life and can help to support the main action. A person walking can simultaneously swing his arms or keep them in his pockets. He can speak or whistle, or he can express emotions through facial expressions. The important thing about secondary action is that they emphasize rather than take attention away from the main action. If the latter is the case, those actions are better left out. Simple. If you want to understand properly, the secondary action is simply, by this name we are understanding this is not main action. Secondary action. The main action means what? Main action is something is there. So suppose like you are sitting on chair, in front of you there is a table, and you are interacting, you are chatting with someone, with opposite person. Your action will be, you are speaking, you are saying something with your hand, with your mouth. And suppose one with the left hand, suppose you are giving a gesture, you are saying by your the mouth, you are saying, you are expressing your dialogues by your mouth, and your right hand, suppose you are applying, you are moving, and the left hand might be you are thumbing, touching on the table. Okay, that is called the secondary action. Secondary action can support always your the main action. The main action means here, suppose you are speaking you are speaking with someone, and the secondary action is maybe you are moving hand accordingly your what you say something. Okay, what you are saying accordingly, your hand can move. That is called the hand movement is the secondary action. The main action is your expressing what you are saying, dialogues. That is the main action. Okay, that is very important. In the case of facial expressions during a dramatic movement, these will often go unnoticed. In these cases, it is better to include them at the beginning and the end of the movement rather than during. The facial expression, suppose eye movements and head movements, so there you can apply the same secondary actions in that particular action. Okay, so that I'll explain practically, then more clearly you'll understand. A good example of this is a character at a table. Yeah, just now I told you, a character at a table acting and delivering their main acting. A side piece of acting business might be the character thumbing their fingers on the table This is not the main action, say. Perhaps it occurs as the other hand is more largely gesturing and your focus is on the face. An action that emphasizes the main point but is secondary to it. Okay, so I explained you clearly. And next is the timing. This is also important. The timing in reality refers to two different concepts, the physical timing and theatrical timing. It is essential both to the physical realism as well as to the storytelling of the animation. That the timing is right on a purely physical level, correct timing makes an object appear to obey to the laws of physics. For instance, an object's weight decides how it reacts to an impetus, like a push. Theatrical timing is of a less technical nature and is developed mostly through experience. Okay, so here we have two kind of timing approaches are there. So physical timing and theatrical timing. Okay, so here theatrical timing is a less technical nature and is developed mostly through experience. Technically you cannot say this, you cannot develop that. By experience, okay, automatically this can you can develop. Yes, here it can be pure comic timing or it can be used to convey deep emotions. Suppose here the timing completely can change the meaning of the action. Suppose here I'm giving two balls here. This is one ball and here it is another ball. For the two balls I'm not filling colors, okay, only with the rounds only I am showing as ball, but people must have to understand which one is iron ball and which one is plastic ball. Suppose here this is iron ball and this is a plastic ball. If you add the color we'll understand, but here I'm not giving any color. Suppose for the plastic ball, with some little bit of hit, just give one push or some hit, because of the plastic material quickly it rolls and takes the more frame to settle because of the material we use it, because the plastic hit and quickly rapidly forcefully it can move and it takes more frames to settle. But here the other hand, because of the heavyweight material we used here, hit largely heavily, not like a plastic ball within it cannot move by little hit by more heavy hit. Because of the heavyweight iron metal, it moves bit lazily and suddenly it stops because of the weight. So if you do these two assignments exercises, clearly will understand which one is iron ball and which one is plastic balls. That means what? Your material, what you are using your material, so it depends on the timing of the object, timing of the animation, and it shows clearly what is actually that object. People will understand clearly. It can also be a device to communicate aspects of a character's personality. An action generally consists of anticipation, the action, and the reaction, any of these. Timing also reflects the weight of an object. Light objects move quickly, heavier objects move more slowly. Timing can completely change the meaning of an action. So already I told you this. Then action has three parts: anticipation, action, and reaction. Okay, any of this. So this timing can reflect the weight of an object. And light objects move quickly, of course, like plastic quickly can move. The heavier objects move more slowly. Okay, so timing completely change the meaning of an action. The 10th is exaggeration. Exaggeration is an effect especially useful for animation, as perfect imitation of reality can look static and dull in cartoons. The level of exaggeration depends on whether one seeks realism or a particular style, like a caricature, or the style of an artist. The classical definition of exaggeration employed by Disney was to remain true to reality, just presenting it in wilder, more extreme form. Other forms of exaggeration can involve the supernatural or surreal, alterations in the physical features of a character or elements in the storyline itself. So simple exaggeration means what? More than that, if you give the uh, character widely or heavily, if you play them, can arrange them, that is exaggeration. You can exaggerate your action. It is abnormal state. In abnormal way, you have to give the expression. So here it is important to employ a certain level of restraint when using exaggeration. If a scene contains several elements, there should be a balance in how these elements are exaggerated in relation to each other to avoid confusing or worrying the viewer. Suppose here the exaggerations are happen. If you take the Tom and Jerry and all in animation, generally both they hit each other. Sometimes the heads can pop up and eyes can pop out. Okay, your head can widerly, lengthily, okay, can exaggerate with the angriness, with wild expression. Eyes can pop up out and largely shivers his head and all. So why these are happening? Because of the creating, the generating humor and comedy. So we have to exaggerate more than original. If you cannot exaggerate properly, you cannot create the humor. The purpose of the animation to generate the human, to entertain the audience. This is very important to exaggerate things. And next is solid drawing. Solidness. Solid means good actually. The principle of solid or good drawing really means that the same principles apply to an animator as to an academic artist. The drawer has to understand the basics of anatomy, composition, weight, balance, light and shadow, etc. For the classical animator, this involved taking art classes and doing sketches from life. Understand this? The animator must be a good artist, even 3D artist also. So 3D, 2D, there is no much difference, because in 2D purely you must be a good artist and your personal skill can matter here. In 2D, of course, machine can support you maximum, but you must be a good artist. Here in 3D, artist plus the programming. That means you must be an artist and a 3D skilled person you must be. So the combination of these two can be a good animator. Okay, that is the reason we are learning the anatomy, composition, weight, balance, light and shades, etc. Okay, that is the reason for a good classical animator this involve taking art classes and doing sketches from lives. That is the reason we are teaching all these sketching and drawing classes, anatomy, character designing, storyboarding, digital painting, all the art and the color related things. Okay, that is called the solid drawing. One thing in particular that Johnston and Thomas warned against was creating twins, characters whose left and right sides mirrored each other and look lifeless. So in your drawing, the character, suppose, can stand in 1/3 at least, or 3/4. It cannot stand in front of exactly mirror kind of the formal direction. So you cannot place your characters opposite to camera. It can turn bit on side, so it look like lifeless if you place your characters opposite to camera. So that is the reason you can bit a 1/3 if you can place the characters, give more the dynamic look. Appeal. The appeal in a cartoon character corresponds to what would be called charisma in a actor. A character who is appealing is not necessarily sympathetic. A villain or monster can also be appealing. The important thing is that the viewer feels the character is real and interesting. There are several tricks for making a character connect better with the audience. For likable characters, a symmetrical or particular baby-like face tends to be effective. So, appeal means what? Generally, in a story, in a drama, or in a action, the characters are there. Heroes are there, villains are there, and heroines and comedians. But all the characters' faces and personalities should not be the same. Maybe hero face is bit roundish or oval shape, bit of oval shape, and with large shoulders and with bit height. But the villains should not be the same head because of the cruelty, because of the evilness. You can produce their heads with a triangle shape or whatever the other shape, but it should not look like your hero's face. For suppose the heroines, suppose the villain, then comedians, the bubbly loose the face, a rounded face, or squashy face, okay, a flattened face, and the large stomach. So that is the design of the character, appeal of the character. So it can point out from the story, from the subject. When you animate, people they'll entertain themselves by seeing these different kind of appealing characters. That is called the appealness of the characters. Here the appeal. See, this is wrong and this is right. So here it is what? The good drawing. The drawing, this is good drawing. Here this is also good drawing, not bad drawing, but the position of the character should not be like this. It is opposite to camera. Instead of this, if you place bit 1/3, it look like the dynamic pose. Okay, so nice poses here. Next, what character animation is not? So after understanding all these principles, what is character animation is not? The character animation is about an artist bringing a character to life. It is not rotoscoping or blindly copying motion. It is not using raw motion capture or other automated techniques to make something simply move, in which the same way tracing is not really drawing. I told you at very first, if you trace your character blindly, it is not animation. Animation means more than that. You have to exaggerate to entertain your audience. You have to apply the proper timing, to apply the follow through, to apply the secondary actions and overlapping actions. So other animation principle can involve. If you trace directly your character, you cannot create all these things. Okay, animation requires the artist to interpret and create something that is more than the original. That must be. Animation means what? More than your original. If you play them by your normal characters means the real-time actors in front of camera, they'll act you they'll act for you. That is not animation. Animation means more than the original. The above principles are the foundation upon which good character animation lies. With practice, patience and perseverance, one's animation skill will improve. Okay. Next, the current trends in animation. Suppose in the 3D animation, these we use geometric modeling and instrumentation, realistic rendering, physical simulation, controllable simulation, digital humans. These are the current trends. Geometric modeling and instrumentation, the building characters with the right shape and control points is time consuming. Want the right set of controls, control points, muscle groups, blending example expressions, instrumentation controls. These are we learn in 3D. This is the mesh, okay, the model of the particular character, and showing in a mesh. It is a final rendered character from the scene. Okay, Computer role in animation. Computer animation can assist the traditional animation process on many levels. Example, by generating in-betweens, automatic cell layering, generating images from models. Okay, so the computers can help you in these areas. Automatically in-betweens can generate, but in 2D animation these in-betweens also we have to create by your own. So the automatic cell layers, the cell layers automatically can create. So generating images from models, from models images you can create. The computer enables many new applications. Okay, so where we use, how you use this technique. Animations we use in video games or other interactive media, merging of film and animated models, etc. So nowadays widely we are using this animation technique in video games and all the in movies. Okay, in interactive media, merging film and animated movies. We know that Bahubali and other movies, suppose there we merge the characters with the real-time actors, okay, etc. That is that simple. And so this is the animation. These are the animation principles. You have to practice this. Suppose this is theory, but in coming classes I'll start one by one all the practicals. Okay, so you can refer this and follow this, and if you have any doubt please ask. Thank you.